CBS 13 News is on your side. Live at 5.
Mainers missing at sea.
When that ship went down, I guarantee you she went down fighting for everything that child's got.
A lifeboat located and a body in the water.
We did identify human remains in one of the survival suits.
The Coast Guard searching for survivors, including Dylan Meckler and Danielle Randolph of Rockland, Captain Michael Davidson of Wyndham, and Michael Holland of Wilton.
And I feel like maybe Michael can feel me with the positive energy. I talk to him a lot, telling him to come home.
We have team coverage from Miami, Florida to Castine, Maine.
From the communities holding on to hope tonight to the training these mariners received and a close-up look at those survival suits meant to protect them in the water, we will cover it all.
And we begin with John Crisos, who is with the crew members' parents in Jacksonville, Florida, where they are praying for a miracle. John.
Those families are praying for a miracle and a reunion. The Coast Guard says it is still hopeful that search teams will find survivors. And here in Jacksonville, families say they aren't giving up either.
Danielle loves her Patriots.
Clinging to pictures and memories.
We made it to a football game last year.
Mom Lori Bobbio says this is what's keeping her going, while her 34-year-old daughter, Danielle Randolph, is lost at sea.
We had such a good time, and this will go down forever. She had a good time.
Now Bobbio says she's praying for a different kind of win, a story of survival for the crew of the Faro, missing for more than 100 hours.
We got to stay positive. We'll have more games.
Bobbio is waiting and wondering with another mother from Maine, Deb Roberts. Roberts' 25-year-old son, Mike Holland, was also on the ship when it started taking on water. This morning, this difficult journey took a new twist. The Coast Guard telling the families it believes the ship sank in 15,000 feet of water.
With the news this morning, it's becoming more and more difficult to be hopeful, but we are hopeful. We continue to pray. Miracles happen every day.
Roberts also holds onto a picture of her son and hope that maybe, just maybe, Michael will get that miracle.
I feel like maybe Michael can feel me with the positive energy. I talk to him a lot, telling him to come home.
A tough day, as you can hear, here in Jacksonville, but even with the difficult time that these families are dealing with, they are standing by the company towed Maritime and also the captain. They say only the weather is to blame. Those families are expected to get back together a little later tonight around 7 o'clock over at the Union Hall. Reporting live tonight in Jacksonville, Florida, I'm John Crisos, CBS 13 News.
All right, John, live with the parents down in Florida. John, we'll check back in with you in the next half hour.
On what should have been a routine trip from Jacksonville to Puerto Rico. But Hurricane Joaquin, which strengthened into a Category 4 hurricane, soon barreled into the area just as the ship experienced major mechanical failure. Now, this is a radar map showing the ship's last known location on Thursday. Today, the Coast Guard thinks this is where it sank. CBS 13's Lauren Hills continues our team coverage in Miami with where that search goes now.
The Coast Guard says it believes the ship sank somewhere near the Bahamas after it ran into Hurricane Joaquin. They have not been able to find the vessel. Now the search and rescue efforts are solely focused on finding survivors.
We are still looking for survivors or any signs of life, any signs of that vessel.
The U.S. Coast Guard remained optimistic Monday morning that they may find survivors from the Faro ship disappearance last week. Captain Mark Fetter says they've searched 70,000 square nautical miles so far around the Bahamas where the ship was last seen. 33 people were on board. So far, no signs of life, but Fetter says they found items from the boat, like life suits.
In one of the survival suits, we did identify human remains in one of the survival suits. We lowered a rescue swimmer to confirm that the person was deceased, and it was basically unidentifiable.
There were 2 lifeboats on board that could hold 40 people each. One boat was found. Fetter says if the crew abandoned ship, they were faced with Category 4 Hurricane Joaquin conditions.
Up to 140 mile an hour winds, seas upwards of 50 feet, visibility basically at 0. Those are challenging conditions to survive in.
Challenging conditions, but he stresses these are trained and skilled mariners, and if anyone could have a chance of surviving, it would be them. The Coast Guard says it will now be flying much lower, hoping that it might see some smaller objects in the water. At this point, hoping to see some signs of life. In Miami, I'm Lauren Hills reporting.
While that intensive search continues, really, as we've heard, there's very little the crew members' families can do right now. But wait, watch, and pray. That includes in Windham, home of Captain Davidson. CBS 13's Brad Rogers is live there. And Brad, this was a very well-regarded, very experienced captain.
Yeah, he certainly is, from all accounts we are getting. Here in Windham, he's known simply as Captain Mike, and it's a community, as this sign says behind me, now praying for Captain Davidson and his family. Today we spoke with a longtime friend of Captain Davidson who worked with him early on in their maritime careers.
I've known him since we were kids. Our families had summer homes out on Great Diamond Island, and then we worked together here as captains at Casco Bay Lines.
Nick Mavadonis has known the captain of the El Faro, Michael Davidson, most of his life. Captain Davidson grew up on this street in South Portland, and like so many mariners, loved the sea. He currently lives here in Windham with his wife and children. Now, he and 3 other Mainers are missing at sea after the El Faro sank off the coast of the Bahamas.
When you know somebody on board and you know that there are other people from the state of Maine, it really is difficult.
Mavadonis told us from what he's learned, the nearly 800-foot cargo ship was well maintained. He has no doubt that Captain Davidson and his company, Tote Maritime, put a lot of thought and planning into this voyage. The president of Tote Maritime says the El Faro captain and crew were monitoring what was then Tropical Storm Joaquin when they departed Florida. Mavadonis told us Captain Davidson was adamant when it came to safety.
Very serious about what he did when we worked together. He was a very squared away mariner, very prudent, meticulous to details around navigation and about safety and passengers and cargo.
Well, investigators will be taking a close look at the mechanical problems, the weather conditions, and other factors that led to the sinking of the El Faro. As captain of the ship, Captain Davidson, and his actions will also come under close scrutiny. But for now, the 53-year-old captain and most of his crew remain missing at sea. We are live in Windham tonight. Brad Rogers, CBS 13 News. Greg?
All right, our prayers certainly with all of them tonight. Thanks, Brad.
All 4 of these Mainers are highly skilled and got their training from Maine Maritime Academy in Castine. CBS 13's Courtney Highfield is there and continues our team coverage. Courtney?
Kim, the search has shifted, but the mindset here in Castine has not. It's truly remarkable to see how positive students and faculty are staying here at the academy. They say they're so confident because they know firsthand the kind of training that these crew members had.
We are. I mean, there's no definitive answers yet, so I mean, we're just holding on, hoping.
Students at Maine Maritime are hanging on to hope that former graduates Captain Michael Davidson, Mike Holland, Danielle Randolph, and Dylan Mecklin will be found.
We're all talking about it, we're all thinking about it, but we're very confident in all the mariners' abilities.
They're going through the same training that those 4 went through before they graduated. It's extensive and it starts on day 1.
I'm starting freshman year. We take nautical science and ocean survival classes, both hands-on and classroom.
I don't think anybody is 100% ready, but I know if they've received the training that I have, which I'm sure they have, they are as ready as they possibly can be.
Their instructors put them in real-life emergency situations, knowing that they could be in the same spot as the crew on El Faro one day.
It can happen to anyone, obviously, and you really want to make sure you're getting everything out of it that you can during training.
They're making it through this tough day by leaning on each other, and they want the crew members' loved ones to know they're here for them too.
We're all shipmates here. It's one community. You know, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families. We're all here down in Castine if they need us.
And we actually just got out of an emotional meeting between the president of the academy and the students here. He wanted to tell the students in person that he's here for them. And he announced that there will be a vigil here on campus tomorrow night at 6:30. Reporting in Castine, I'm Courtney Highfield for CBS 13 News.
All right, the ties are truly strong there. Thank you, Courtney.
And not far away, people in Rockland will gather in less than an hour for a vigil there. Among them will be those who know and love Dylan Mecklin and Danielle Randolph. CBS 13's Marissa Bodner spoke with some of their friends and their former teachers. And Marissa, what did you learn today?
Well, Greg, it has been a tough few days. This is a small maritime community. People here are very used to sending graduates off to the academy and then out to sea. They understand all of the risks. Right now, they're hoping for a miracle.
Sorrow, really hurt, and still feel that.
Paul DeSaunier is watching and waiting as the U.S. Coast Guard searches for two of his former students, now missing at sea.
It gets hard because you see these youngsters, and you care about them.
It was a somber start to the week at the high school in Rockland, where Dylan Mecklin graduated in 2010 and Danielle Randolph in 2000.
The name rang a bell, and I remember her in chemistry class.
According to the class yearbook, Danielle played tennis and was part of the Adventure Club. She went on to the Maine Maritime Academy and hoped to become a deck officer on a ship. Dylan listed similar plans for his future.
Wonderful personality, and it was a big personality, and you liked him.
Gentry Birch was a classmate.
Really one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Many remember the 23-year-old as a standout athlete, especially on the basketball court.
He was voted most likely to appear on ESPN. Everybody, figured, he was going to do these great athletic things. Dylan knew that I have other goals.
Dylan and Danielle both accomplishing the goals they set as teenagers in this small town.
It's a reality, but we're extraordinarily proud of them for what they achieve and what they do every day.
Just really hoping and praying can have a good outcome from this and hoping he comes home.
A vigil is planned tonight right here at the Fisherman's Memorial. You can see pictures of Dylan and Danielle have already been set up. It's set to start at 6 o'clock, and it is open to any members of the public. Live in Rockland, Marissa Bodner, CBS 13 News. Back to you.
One more community waiting and watching and hoping. Marissa, thanks.
25-year-old Michael Holland of Wilton was also aboard El Faro. CBS 13's Lexi O'Connor joins us now live from Wilton after speaking with those who knew him today. Lexi?
Yes, Kim, we've been speaking to people here in Wilton and also the next town over, Jay, where Mike Holland did grow up. And people here say this news is especially hard for these small communities because many people know Mike Holland and know his family. So everyone here is really just hoping now for some good news. Now, 25-year-old Michael Holland did recently move to Wilton, but he spent most of his life in Jay, Maine. He graduated in 2008 from Jay High School, where he played football and then went on to Maine Maritime Academy. I spoke with one of his classmates and friend of the family's today. She says Mike is a true Mainer. She says he loves fishing, hunting, and anything outdoors, and that it's been tough on the whole community since hearing the news.
It's heartbreaking, especially for the family and for the whole town. I mean, we're all so close that everyone's just waiting to hear what they can do to help out or offer thoughts and prayers, and so we're all just hoping for the best right now.
Now, Mike Holland's mother, Deb Roberts, did set up a Facebook page that many people throughout the day today have been posting some thoughts and memories on, including one of Mike Holland's good friends that he has known since the 7th grade. Now, coming up in just a half hour at 5:30, we'll hear from what he has to say about the strength of his friend. We're live in Wilton tonight. Lexi O'Connor for CBS 13 News. Back to you guys.
All right, a lot of support for him as well. Thanks, Lexi.
And our team coverage continues next with a close-up look at those survival suits.
How long they take to put on and what they're meant to do. Next at 5.
And the hurricane will stay out on the ocean. Closer to home, it's nice and quiet. We're actually headed for a pretty nice looking stretch. I'll let you know how warm it's going to get and when to expect the chance for some showers. It's my forecast coming up next.
You're watching CBS 13 News.
Happening right now, a desperate search in the Atlantic Ocean for any sign of survivors from the cargo ship El Faro. The Coast Guard confirms today that the nearly 800-foot-long ship sank last Thursday when it lost power in Hurricane Joaquin.
Searchers have found signs of the ship, including extensive cargo evidence. They've also found some lifeboats and at least one survival suit with human remains, although they've been unable to identify at this point who that body is. The hope tonight, of course, is focused on those survival suits they had, that somehow some of the 33 crew members aboard are alive right now somewhere in the ocean awaiting rescue.
The suits are specially designed to give mariners the best possible chance at survival in situations like this and to stay afloat. CBS 13's Jared Pelletier looks into exactly how they work.
Coast Guard officials say this survival suit is similar to one that would have been on board El Faro. There are rules and regulations for these that mariners know in and out.
If you've never seen one of these suits, you should know that this is one of the single most important things that you can put on if you're in an emergency out on the ocean.
They're also known as immersion suits. On many large ships, having one per person is a requirement that the Coast Guard enforces.
The suits have to be Coast Guard approved. So when we go on board to check to make sure a vessel is in compliance, we make sure that it has that approval code from the U.S. Coast Guard. And then we also make sure that the condition is okay.
To make sure it does its job, keep you afloat.
The pillow behind your neck, it'll support your neck a little bit more.
Stay warm.
Your own breath kind of keeps it warm, and the only thing that's exposed is really your eye area.
And make you easier to spot. Making sure crews train regularly to put these on is also required.
In the Coast Guard, we have to be able to don it within 60 seconds, and I believe that's the industry standard as well.
The Coast Guard says most experienced mariners are able to do the same. Evidence that survival suits like these were used indicates crew members were doing everything in their power to save themselves. In South Portland, Jared Pelletier, CBS 13 News.
We also know these experienced mariners had the training and the expertise to make the best of this terrible situation.
And our coverage of the El Faro situation will continue in the next hour. And of course, at any point we get new information, we'll bring it to you right away.
Now, your CBS 13 Weather Authority forecast.
There's no question we are still tracking Hurricane Joaquin, now a Category 1 hurricane. We're going to look at the more details in that storm coming up at 5:30, but the storm will stay out in the ocean. We're going to see some high surf around here, though. Here's satellite radar. We've seen a few clouds on the increase over the last several hours. It's partly to mostly cloudy at times. There's tonight's Doppler HD. Things are quiet. I do not anticipate any rain. Let's widen this out. Where's the storm right now? Well, still pretty far away. There's the center of Joaquin moving away from Bermuda. Here we are in Portland, and it looks like the storm is about through the center there, about 640 miles away, and it is going to pass southeast of Nova Scotia, so we do not anticipate any effects from the storm directly around here, but those seas will stay active. We have a high surf advisory right through the day tomorrow. Air temps are in the 50s now. We topped out in right around 60 degrees for a lot of towns today. It felt nice, didn't it? Overnight lows tonight will be in the 40s. There will be some spots over inland areas in the 30s. So the overall theme over the next several days will be mild temperatures. I expect temps to be in the 60s tomorrow. We're going to start in the upper 40s to near 50. Notice loads of sunshine for Tuesday. That's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Unlimited sun, a light wind. I think a very nice day. Mid 60s will be common for most of the area. Now on Wednesday, I expect another mostly sunny day. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There'll be a very weak front that approaches and moves through late in the day. Notice a few scattered showers up into the St. Lawrence Valley. You may see a quick sprinkler shower in the mountains, but outside of that, we're going to stay dry. It's going to be warm again on Wednesday. Upper 60s will be common. And then by Thursday, we have a cool down. Temperatures will be closer to 60 degrees by Thursday and Friday. There's that 7-day forecast. It looks to be a pretty nice one. Loads of sun, mid 60s tomorrow, mid to upper 60s on Wednesday. Again, there could be a mountain rain shower Wednesday evening. Now, as we go into Thursday, full sun. Next chance for a steady rainfall will arrive late on Friday. I think the morning will be quiet on Friday, but some rain moves in during the afternoon. If everything works out, we're going to clear it out just in time for the weekend with temps looking more seasonable with highs near 60 degrees. So our weather pattern is much quieter than last week's this time. If you remember, we had flooding rains on the way 1 week ago today. That is not the case this week. Joaquin's going to stay to our east, guys. That's good news. High surf advisory remains in effect for our area. Surfers, at least, will be happy with that.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Our weather looks pretty good, but up next, relentless rainfall. South Carolina is submerged, including this truck. How the driver's rescue quickly turned into 2 rescues. Next at 5.
Plus, an Amtrak train derailed, sending people to the hospital. What the train hit that sent it over an embankment.
You're watching CBS 13 News.
Developing at 5, an Amtrak train goes off the tracks and falls over an embankment, sending several passengers to the hospital. Vermont's governor says that train hit a rock slide that had gotten onto the tracks. The conductor, they say, did everything he could, just couldn't stop in time. 7 people were taken to area hospitals, including one airlifted to a trauma center in New Hampshire. That train is very popular this time of year, with tourists looking to soak in the fall foliage throughout the state of Vermont.
Felt something, it just was like a bump. And next thing we knew, there was like, we kind of swerved to the left and then swerved to the right, and we all going, uh-oh.
Saw the car in front of us kind of come up this way, and that's the one that went down the ditch. And then ours kind of ended up on its side.
And Vermont's governor says investigators will examine inspections records for that track, which is owned by New England Central Railroad.
Parts of South Carolina are experiencing catastrophic flooding, and more rain is in the forecast. At least 7 people have died. Officials are concerned that number will rise. More than 18 inches of rain fell in just 24 hours in Columbia, more than a third of what the city gets the entire year.
We haven't seen this level of rain in the Low Country in 1,000 years. That's how big this is.
Yep, he just made a mistake.
The driver of this pickup truck tried to drive through a flooded street, but his car was quickly overtaken. A man swam in to try to rescue him, but moments later, he too found himself trapped in the high waters. Both men were then rescued by emergency crews.
With a tight housing market, many renters in Portland are doing one specific thing to try to cut costs. What that is, how it could open them up to scammers, and what you need to know to protect yourself next at 5:30.
Plus, Mainers missing at sea, what searchers are now looking for and what they found so far after their cargo ship sank during Hurricane Joaquin.